So this gets revealed if you choose one of the other two options. Cason's not quite human. Which also explains how he was able to be back in 1956 and look the same age, and also kill York's mom, or Zach's mom, my mistake, and be the same age. Okay, I have heard that this is the, as helpful as it's been so far, this is the reason to have the submachine gun. This is the moment. I have heard the game gets very difficult if you don't have this. Oh Lord, he coming. I forget exactly how this boss fight goes. Do I just have to shoot him when I can? Looks like it. Oh yeah, I would never even have enough effing ammo for this. I mean, I guess I do have the pistol that's infinite, but still. Yeah, he's got a good amount of health here. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, since this boss fight is actually fairly simple, I'll see how much I can unpack. I'm just gonna talk as it comes to me. But yeah, in case, like, this wasn't immediately clear to me the first time I watched this. But, yes, Zach is the original kid, and then York is kind of the God-sent alternate personality. Whereas, like, even, I love that twist because even if you were able to put, it's actually a lot like Gravity Falls and, like, well, I won't get further into that, but, in case of spoilers, but, in terms of people figuring out a somewhat similar twist, people still got things, like, twisted up as to who was fulfilling what role. Wait, I forgot where X was for a hot second there. But the reveal that, like, Zach is kind of the main character and York is just the one giving advice. But York is just, like, extroverted and confident, so he's the one that's usually, like, taking charge. I just think that's an excellent twist. I think it's, I just really like it. Oh, he's doing the Tunnel Witch, morph balls at us. What else do I have to say? There's a lot to unpack. I keep saying that and then not unpacking anything. Honestly, just since at the top of the mind, throughout the game, you may have noticed that several characters say, you look older than you are, or something like that, or I figured you'd be older considering how you look, which is a weird thing to say. And then also, people are like, yeah, that scar of yours is the talk of the town, and the scar on his cheek is like, it's there, it's okay, but it's not like an incredible scar. The reveal is that the look of York that we've been seeing is kind of just how Zach sees himself, because he's using the York persona to just interact with the outside world. Okay, I guess I gotta wait for them to get closer. In fact, York/Zach has had white hair the entire time, and has had that massive scar the entire time, and that's what all the townsfolk have actually been talking about. I think that attention to detail is fantastic. There's also, dang it, it's not just B. There's also, what else is there? What else is there? I know there's a lot more, but I'm also focused on the, final boss happening right now. To put you at ease, don't worry, it's multi-stage final boss. This is not the entire thing, because this would be fairly disappointing if that was the case. Not that the other two I think are anything particular to write home about. Deadly Premonition is not special for its boss fights. If you want that, tune into Wind Waker. But yeah, I really like this twist. I don't know. More will come to me as we go, but also just credit to Jeff Kramer because his voice acting styles are completely different for York and Zack. Like, it's the same voice. You can tell it is the same, like, person speaking, but they have two very different inflections. Zack's voice is a lot, like, kind of scratchier and croaky. Oh, and that brings me now, I can start talking about the director's cut a little bit. I mentioned that version of the game has several extra scenes that involve I was very specific with my wording, an old man who clearly is supposed to look like, or is supposed to be an old York, but has a croaky voice and is also super old, and you never quite get a good look at him. The reveal, or part of the reveal, is that it is not an old York, it is an old Zack, and so that's why his voice is croaky, not just because he's old, also because he has a different voice, and also to hide the white hair is why you're not given a good look at him. But yeah, the reveal is that it is an old Zack. Also, when York and Kaysen meet for the first time, I'm sorry, I'm just loading in here, but I don't have much else to say. Even Kaysen doesn't have a lot of, like, fun battle dialogue here, so it's not like you're missing much. I forget who, but one of them says something. I forget exactly what, but one of them is like, "Oh, you seem familiar," or something like that, because they have met, and there is actually like a very important history there. Also, with the reveal of Kaysen, there's more to talk about. The very first time you go to the Red Room, you see, you look at the American map, and I kind of played it off, pretending not to really know what it was, but there's a bunch of Kaysen dolls on the map. And in that last White Room scene with Emily and the old standing man, Emily was holding a Kaysen doll. Also FK in the coffee. There is a lot of foreshadowing that Kaysen is up to no good. The reveal that he is basically a demon monster, that might come out of nowhere. Oh, also all of Kaysen's like really creepy, skeevy comments about like, what's the one about the throwing a college girl into a, I forget, some really gross thing. Seems less like bad writing and more like foreshadowing as to the kind of morality Kaysen operates on once the reveal happens. Still gross, I'm not saying it makes it less gross, but it's less like, oh, Swery thinks this would be a fun line, and more, Swery thinks this is a really evil line, so he should give it to the villain.
I really don't like having to exercise.
Well, I'm going to exorcise. Because you're a demon. Yeah, it's not just the same power-up George got. He is very much not human. If it wasn't clear enough, it better be now. So I don't remember, I played Metroid Prime at one point in my life. I don't remember it super well, but it was basically this, wasn't it? The final boss, I mean, fighting the actual Metroid Prime. Which looks nothing like a Metroid. Oh, I guess it's just running time. I can run for quite a while. I hope. Yeah, that was one thing, as varied as the designs were of the... So complex. The boss designs in Metroid are amazing, but in Metroid Prime particularly, I was always disappointed that the titular Metroid Prime didn't resemble a Metroid at all. I just wish there had been a little bit more. Oh, what the F was that? Sorry, I'm playing kind of a spooky game, and then something in my apartment just, like, cracked. Oh well. Sorry, it freaked me out for a second there. What's with this camera angle? What's happening here? It slows me down to roll, but it also slows him down to shoot.
I'll squash you like a frog.
Oh, he hit me and then bounced. This is also basically that one Twilight Princess boss. I'm gonna play Twilight Princess eventually, so I won't tell you exactly how it goes, but it's basically... Oh no, he's got two! I should definitely use a med kit. Oops. Got him that time. I don't know how long this goes. It goes on for longer than it probably needs to. I do like the clock. Going though. Oh, he coming. Ah, what a freaking idiot. Doesn't even have a health bar, but I can tell I did some damage there. The thing I don't like about mashing, and particularly the waggling, is I'm always scared I'm damaging the controller. That's why I don't do it too hard, which makes me very bad at games that require it. Okay, it looks like we're possibly making progress. But very slow. Also, my hand is getting tired. I may switch hands shortly. Just to mix it up a little bit. Ooh, that one went very fast. I switched hands, it's happening. That's going to be really bad if I have to do prompts really quickly. Because now there's no hand on the prompt button. I think we're getting really close to the end though. I think that's the... Was that it? Because I definitely did not hit the evade button in time. So this is either extended death or... No, there's a convenient door. And we're on top of the bell tower. It's just like Spec Ops The Line. They stole that from this game. You keep descending the entire time, but then somehow you're at the top of the building. Ahead of its time, as I've said. Also feels thematically fitting that this...
Emily? I will avenge your death. Just a moment longer.
What was that in the background? Was that like a flag?
I've caused you.
I don't think it was him.
The dress you wore...
What the F is that?
Didn't seem to fit you right.
I actually thought she looked very nice in that dress. What is that Silent Hill texture? Oh, I think it's just rotating towers or something. I don't know if I finished the thought. Considering everything that's happened to Greenvale, feels fitting that the final boss is on top of the clock tower. Not a big boy. Oh, I didn't even do a QT for that. How kind. Bless me.
Kason, I've been meaning to tell you this. You're one crazy guy.
I like to think Zach is just very inexperienced in coming up with one-liners, and that's why that one is particularly dumb. Alright, so the gimmick here is he is invincible, except for one vital point. Okay, well, hang on. Oh, it turns into tank controls. I hate that. That's actually the scariest part of this boss fight. I are tired. Got that right. This seems like a good spot to use the large med kit, since I'm very near death. Also, when he's winding up, seems like the right thing to do is turn sideways. Oh, there's some ancient honor. He's holding it hostage. I'm glad these sparks give me some indication if I'm getting close, because the reticule can be hard to deal with. Okay, turn sideways, and then when it turns to tank controls, I can move if I need to, and then not move if I don't need to. Perfect! I have a strategy. Dang it, didn't quite get it, buddy. Oh, dang it. Keeps bringing on more Agent Honor. The true villain. Is this what pain feels like? Oh, this is new. He's now breathing Tunnel Witch fire. Oh, he tried to get me there. I can't, it's kind of hard to angle it right. Ooh. Cool, 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 cool. Where are you going? Yeah, I can still shoot it. You'd think he would just, like, drop the doll. Like, does throwing it into the fiery mists below ruin his plan? Like, why even hold on to it? Oh, just the one? Okay. Oh, bullets. And I got some Agent Honor, which is what I actually wanted, of course. I also do have a plan. As much as I love Gun, the Great and Powerful we've got here, I do have a plan for the final blow. Oh, this would suck with a pistol. I'm really glad I got this thing. That did damage already, I guess. I wasn't hiding. Like, there is kind of cover in the boss arena, but I haven't used it once. You should really make your invincible skin spark-proof. That will make it much more difficult for me to aim. Really, your true weakness isn't the doll, it's the fact that I can see when I'm getting close to hitting the doll. That's your true flaw here. Oh, something else got revealed. I hope it was the pickles. I could have sworn there's a point where he tries to block it with his other hand. But nope, looks like he's just... either I'm just acing this, or... Actually, yeah, if I just back up enough, I don't have to deal with that at all. Alright, buddy. I assume the thing that I remember is still going to happen no matter what I do. Yeah, okay, he's going to play a little bit of hide and seek here. Now, we could use the shotgun to make sure we finish him off good. We could use our FBI gun because it's fitting because we're bringing him to justice. But, in honor of Emily, I think, wait. This is the one I meant. In honor of Emily, it only makes sense to finish him off with her very good gun. No, don't back up. But where could it be? I bet it's in his butt pocket with the Willy sticker. Excuse me.
You're an annoying little bug.
Nope, I didn't mean to do that. Ow! Okay, so that goes a little bit differently than I had planned, because it's been a while since I've seen footage, so let's go and use this bad boy. And you know what? If we're gonna power up, let's power up. Let's eat one of our onions. We took our time to eat, right in Cason's face. You like that? You want to know the power that humans have? They can eat raw onions if they will it. If they will it to happen, they can make it happen. Can you do that? So yeah, it's just kind of a waiting game here. This should do the trick. I did not do that. Seeing a red glowing arrow trying to tell me to get to it, but I am bad at the game. Please do that again. I love how he's actually holding this hand out like, oh, did you think? You thought. Please punch me again. And this is the one time I wish I could just jog backward instead of completely turning around every time. Come on, buddy, you can do it. It sure is. Alright. Let's climb up. Looks like we can climb up here, Zach. Should be no trouble. Looks like the door wasn't locked. What up? Hey, what you got there? Not quite the shirtless Link catapulting himself to deliver one final arrow shot to the giant eyeball. Although we do get a nice giant eyeball here. Kind of interesting parallel. George said something very similar as he was dying. Oh, it's not over. Still gotta hit those QTEs.
It's because you don't understand humans.
Best shot in the whole game coming up. That is actually, unironically, my favorite iteration of Cool Guys Don't Look at Explosions. I love that shot so much. That being said, I wish Zach had a little bit more to say. Like, he says it's because you don't understand humans, but then he doesn't say anything more about, like, humans have an undying spirit. They will do whatever they have to get the job done, or, like, anything like that. It's just, oh, you don't get humans. You're a demon and you just didn't understand. We can shoot guns real well. If we do the side quests, we can do it all day. I think it's weird that they actually replaced the normal characters with just random townsfolk that have nothing to do with the case, according to York.
Emily, York tries not to show it, but he's pretty shy. Don't wait for him to propose. Just ask him to marry you.
Ooh, that reminds me of another thing I wanted to say. I do really respect that. Okay, I don't think that's supposed to look like that. What could it be? What's Zach gonna... Fair. It's sweet that it ends on that. Which ties into what I was gonna say. It's kind of a weird, like, moral of... Like, we hear the... At times, things must be purged from this world because they should not exist, even if it means losing someone you love. It turns out both Zach's dad and Zach himself are unable to actually follow through on that philosophy. Because even though the only correct choice is point gun at Emily, it doesn't actually do anything because Zach still can't do it. That being said, I do appreciate that moves the agency over to Emily, and she is the one who decides how she's going to go out and actually go through with it. I think that makes her character even more powerful, and in this moment of weakness and vulnerability at the end of the character's life, she gets one last strong choice that is solely her own choice and her own action. I love that, and I think that, as sad as it is that Emily dies, and as problematic as it is that pretty much all of the main female cast dies for the sake of propelling the male main character forward, I think that is a common trope that needs to be relied upon far less. I think Emily's not even really arc, because she doesn't really have any development until the Thomas levels. But, like, I think it wraps Emily up as a character pretty well, having her be the one to actually, like, pull the tree out. And she gives a sweet little smile to Zach right as she goes. One thing I'm not clear on is, it's clear that we still have a lot to get through. There's actually, that was the final boss. That is the last combat we will be doing. But there's actually a considerable amount of wrap-up we still have to get through before we actually see the credits. But just because I don't want to forget about the things I want to talk about. It's clear that Zach's body with the white hair and the giant scar across the eye is what all the townsfolk have been seeing. However, Emily calls him Zach right before she dies, and to me it is unclear if Emily managed to piece together, oh, Zach is in control now, not York, I need to be speaking to Zach now, or have all of the townsfolk been calling him Zach, and it's just in his own head he hears it as York because he is kind of using that York persona. I think that's a little bit unclear. I think I've usually understood it as the latter. Rewatching that scene, I thought it was maybe the former, but actually I've been tugged because of Emily's line in kind of the ghost forest saying, I finally get it. I finally get how York and Zack work, implying that even when she was still alive in those final moments with the tree, she still didn't quite get it. And it's only until she's passing over into the next world that it clicks together for her and she can actually spend time with actual York. Yeah. That's a lot. I also appreciate that we got a little bit of it with Becky, but with all of these characters, they meet all of the victims, they meet very violent ends. I appreciate that even in the midst of this final boss sequence, we get an uninterrupted, purely like sweet, nice scene of Emily kind of entering the afterlife with all the other goddesses of the forest. And unlike with Becky, it's not like interrupted and snapped back to reality. It just kind of, you have that full moment, you get that full closure, and then we return to the scene in the theater. I think that's very well done. I think it's very sweet. Yeah. Again, the trope of killing off female characters to motivate male characters is overused, and it is very heavily used in this game, but with Emily in particular, I do appreciate, I mean, as sad as I am, I really like her as a character too, and I just, like, from a personal standpoint, don't like seeing her die. I think her character's, in the grand scheme of things, handled well. She gets, there's also the whole, like, there's a lot, I said there was a lot to unpack, and the game has finally given me a chance to pause and actually talk. There's also the, like, kind of sapling as sexual assault allegory. The way Kaysen speaks, there's a chance it's not even really allegory. That's just, like, what happened. And that's just the process required to plant the tree. And that kind of gets shoved in at the end there. You get little hints of that kind of theme throughout. Like when you view all the different murder scenes. Like, this is the first time it's made that explicit, and even though it wasn't like a subtle approach to the topic, and it wasn't like nuanced and like, hey, show this to people to understand how the issue should be talked about by any means. I do appreciate with kind of how sloppily that was thrown in. I don't know if sloppily is the right word. It is not a nuanced approach to sexual assault allegory. And yet, even in that, we get Emily going through that trauma, and you hear that like in her dialogue when York first comes to the theater, and she is able to kind of process it, and then in her final moments accept that like that did not fundamentally change her own identity. Like, that wasn't, the game did not approach this topic in a nuanced way. I am trying to, but this is off the cuff, so if I say anything stupid, I apologize. I appreciate that in Emily's final moments, she's basically able to come to terms with that trauma and grow and move past it. Grow is kind of a weird thing to say considering she dies immediately after, but she's able to fully process it and move on, and very sadly in the process move on from this life. But I don't know. I really like Emily as a character. I think she's very well done. Everything about her should scream generic, and yet I find her incredibly charming and well, for the most part, well written. And yeah. Like, I'm sad she's gone. I really like Emily. She's actually... York is okay. York is fantastic. So I don't know if Emily is my favorite character over York, but Emily is if not number one, definitely number two. I really like Emily, and I have a lot to say about her. That's most of it. That's probably half the episode that you're watching right now is me just ranting about Emily. But I like her, and I'm sad she's gone. So long, Green Veil cowboy, cowgirl. Anyways, how much did we get paid? That's the important thing. This feels like a weird time to check the leaderboards. I don't know, even if I was connected to the Xbox Live, don't know if I'd be in the mood to check that. Sure. Let's give a quick recap.
Previously,
It would be
during the
great if it said
investigation,
Yorkview.
York, the other me. My other personality.
There are some things in this world that must be extracted. No matter.
York, I'm sorry.
Why can you cause me pain? A red tree!
York and Zach. Finally, I understand. You two really are best friends. I'm a little jealous.
I'm sure he'll make you very happy.
Oh yeah, and viewing this painting again, you can clearly see Thomas is one of the is in the painting. So yeah, in case it wasn't obvious,
Maybe.
I didn't review it in case it wasn't
Zach,
obvious.
That story I told you the other day.
But
Did you believe it?
Harry is the guy in the white room.
The fact of the matter is
In the white
that
suit.
he couldn't save Emily.
I'm pretty useless. Couldn't save Becky, and I couldn't save Diane.
There's something mysterious about that picture. There's a calming beauty to it, and yet it exudes sadness.
Harry, I have a few questions for you.
About what, Zach?
Your last name isn't really Stewart, is it?
No, that is correct. It's really Woodman. Harry Woodman. George was my son.
You were there in the White Room when I was there. Why?
The same reason as your father. Long, long ago, I too was unable to show my wife. What's worse is that I was also unable to kill myself. Which is why I lost both. The woman I loved and my son. My wife suffered from a mental illness, but I still loved her. I wanted to save George too, if I could. Everything was my fault. If only I had the courage to make the right decision, Emily and the other girls would not have died. But you have put an end to all of that.
Is that true? Like, would you shooting your wife
I
have
wonder if
stopped
they're-
that?
Zach, no need to worry about that.
Also, like, I know she had a mental illness, but she was still a very abusive mother, and you didn't do anything to stop that. So I don't know if the one choice of not shooting her during the red tree process was the thing that could have stopped things like George becoming a bad person. There's a lot to unpack there. It's unclear what the timeline is of when she succumbed to the red tree. If Harry remembers having a father that raised him. It's the timing on that is kind of weird. I appreciate that Michael's given us a try. I guess we handed over the master key to No one, I guess. There's no police department anymore. There's no... I guess there's a couple
Michael,
nameless officers,
Mind stopping
but...
the car for a moment?
Very well, Mr. Francis Zach Morgan.
So yeah, Harry and Michael both calling him Zach, I think kind of hints more towards the they've always been calling him Zach route. I got these shaky hands, I've got to.
Uh-huh. That's right.
It's a shame about Emily, and the other girls, too.
Just a god spotlight shining directly through that
How are Isaac and Isaiah?
tree. It's really kind of weird. They have not changed at
they're
all.
fine.
They've seen like
They still
3
don't think
corpses
the girls
now.
are dead.
They keep just showing up at the crime scene. I don't know what's up with that.
Give it to him yourself. He's right next to you.
Oh, okay. I understand. We'll do it for you.
Emily kind of told us to give this to you.
Emily said it's a present for Zach.
Is it the curly-tailed
Thank you.
squirrel key?
Where did you get this?
Emily asked us to give it to you. See? She's over there.
There's another Zach there too. You're twins, just like us.
Emily couldn't give it to you herself. She said she's too embarrassed. So, she asked us to hand it to you.
Emily really likes
Wish that lens flare had been done just a little bit better. Jim is like, what the F is going on? What are these people talking about?
Be nice to the girls, okay? And they'll be nice to you.
We don't like girls.
Girls are boring.
Then why do you keep talking to the ghost girls? Like, that's your only purpose to the plot, is that you talk to the girls.
Gotta love them. Just full of energy.
I wish Jim had a bigger role in the plot. He's in that first scene when they discover Anna, but really he's just there to ferry the twins around.
Emily. York. Sounds like you're both doing fine. I feel better about you two now.
It was for them. He wanted Isaac and Isaiah to find her.
Mr. Francis Zach Morgan.
Gotta get this song in here one last
If you
time.
are, please, let us return to the car.
Since Harry
need for
isn't
that.
around, I
You
am
can
not
go home.
obligated to do those
wanna take a
stupid
look around.
rhymes anymore.
Very well.
I am free.
I'm sure Mr. Stewart will approve of that.
Ah, thank you, Michael.
Master has given Michael a sock. All right. believe there's only one thing left to do. And that... Oh, no, we gotta get back to the hotel. Never mind.
York, can you hear me? I'm a little jealous.
I'm all alone on this side now.
But don't worry, York.
I've had it easy for so long having you with me. I need to get used to being on my own.
Second option here for talkie talks, but I do distinctly remember that these drives get much quieter in this chapter because Zack is now on his own and is not talking to York like on the regular anymore. Like that conversation is no longer happening regularly. And I actually, like, I think that's very powerful. I think I really appreciate that. Which is why I let it run a little bit silent there. For just a little while at least. What's the best way to get to you? Keep going. Oh crap, I just ran a red light. Maybe Zack is pays way less attention to traffic than York does. I feel like that's not the case at all, but maybe.
One more thing.
Okay, one more thing.
I hope things are going well with Emily.
You've always been horrible with women. I gave you tons of advice during your last relationship, and you ignored all of it. I'm sure Emily will take the lead. Just don't fight her. Let her steer you in the right direction.
I also appreciate that. That's also another like very touching moment when Zack is talking to the body and just goes, when you're ready, just ask him to marry you. He's not gonna ask because he's gonna be too shy. That's a really cute moment. I really like that. Man, I talked so much when I had the one opportunity to that now I feel like I have nothing else to say. Whoops. But yeah, in case it wasn't clear, we are definitely wrapping things up. I will talk over the credits as I usually do, but yeah. Seems like a good time to start unpacking general thoughts of the game.
So
Oh,
much
no,
has
he's got a little
happened
more.
since we came to this town.
Oh, that's it? Canonically, it's only been like a week, which is wild. But yeah. I like this game. I like it a lot. I like it an effing lot. It's obviously like, it's very rough in some places. That's kind of the reputation it's gotten, and I think that's earned. But it's not like, no part of this, aside from the tunnel witches, which were a complete pain, almost no part of this was like unplayable or like dreadful to play through. There's a lot here that's really fun. The car driving dynamics is very charming. The combat is not as bad as its reputation seemed like it was. Like, yeah. The plot is engaging. The characters are fun. This game's great. This game's great. It's not perfect, but it's great.
York, tonight I'm going to sleep like a baby.
Unlike that time yesterday when I slept for a day and 10 hours. I hope I can select previous chapters to do more side quests on my own time, but for the purposes of the Let's Play, yes, I'm ready.
Polly, what's that picture?
Oh, that. We took it when the clock tower was built.
50 years ago?
That's right. That's me in the middle. I was pretty popular back then. Men were always around me.
Polly, haven't you been on my butt about how inappropriate it is to talk about that sort of thing?
Waiting. Just sign here, please. Mr. Morgan.
I do like that Pennywise
Morgan.
dynamic that Cason's kind of everywhere.
I'm sorry, Polly. I was just thinking of a friend. Someone who was with me for a long, long time.
Not
He
Cason.
must have been a really good friend
York.
then.
I'm talking about York. I just want to make
Otherwise,
that clear, Polly.
Why else would you remember him at a time like this?
Indeed. We used to fight, but he really was a good person. He's gone now, though. Gone away to a place where we can't meet again.
I'm sorry to hear that, but if he's a friend of yours, I'm sure he's getting on just fine.
Thank you, Polly. You know what? I think so, too.
Zach doesn't smoke. Only York does. So I don't know why. I thought I remembered there was a last bit where you drive from the hotel to the edge of town. Maybe I made this up in my head, but I could have sworn that happened. And because you have said goodbye to York at that point, it is completely silent. Like, Zach just says nothing. And I guess I just made that up in my head. If that had happened, I probably would have cried. I was already feeling like the emotions kind of welling up when York said goodbye, and also in that final conversation with Polly, I was really feeling it. And like my plan was to not commentate during that sequence, but to just let it be silent. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I'd done that for the drive to the hotel. But yes, if I had done that, I probably would have cried by the time the credits were rolling, because I feel like that would have been a perfect capstone to all of it. That being said, I'm slight disappointment because I thought of a cool thing and then the cool thing didn't happen the way I thought it did. But doesn't ruin the game by any stretch of the imagination. Oh man. I've now played through Deadly Premonition. I don't have a lot to say because that in of itself is such a big deal for me personally. This game has been such a big part of my life. I've talked about it before, but just quick run through. It was one of my first introductions to Two Best Friends Play, which has had an incredible influence on my sense of humor and the references I make and who I am. They're the group that got me into a lot of the things I've chosen to watch, such as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I never stop referencing. In turn, during that Let's Play, they talk about how much this game resembles Twin Peaks, and I don't know why they did that, because they're pretty much not alike at all, but that Let's Play is what led me to try Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is now one of my favorite television shows of all time and has one of my favorite characters of all time. Sorry. Yeah, I'll just let this part play. Okay, well, if we're just gonna do the whole song, I can't be silent the entire time. Okay, so yeah, fun acrostic thing. There's at least one member of the cast for every alphabet, and then I guess these 10 characters just didn't fit in. They just got thrown in. That don't count. You also saw what was it? Oregon and Washington and California crew. That's from when Swery and a couple of his friends just went out to visit. I think I mentioned at one point that they did that. Also, Raincoat Killer, voiced by Casey Robertson, who is the voice of George, so that is consistent. I always appreciate that. That's one thing. I'm watching Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated right now, and it's effing great, and I effing love it. But one of my very slight criticisms is, and it's not even, there's no good way to handle it, but the voice of the villain / monster is never the same voice as the culprit. Which, like, if it was, then anyone who is attuned to listen to voice acting is going to be able to tell who it is. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, then I guess every single villain in the show has access to a voice modulator, and it is fun knowing that the Raincoat Killer is voiced by the same guy as George. Remy, I believe she's a Japanese singer, because I have listened to this version of Amazing Grace on its own, and you can tell that not all the words are pronounced as a native English speaker would pronounce them. But Remy, fantastic. I effing love this rendition. In case it did not pick up, I did almost cry hearing it this second time around during the credits. But as I said, I can't just have 3/4 of the credits be me holding back tears and saying nothing, because on my channel I use the credits to talk about the game, so like, sorry, gotta keep going. I hate to talk over it, but I would just, during these key changes, I probably would just burst out into tears if I weren't talking. And I cry enough on this channel and in real life. I don't need to like purposefully put myself in a position where that will happen. She's a really good singer though. Anyways, this song's soundtrack on the whole is effing fantastic. I've talked about the music quite a bit. Woods and the God, you hear a lot of the songs over and over again. But they even have an FK in the coffee logo. I didn't know that. That's really cute. I wonder if that's like, quote, Project Deadly Premonition, because you see that every time the game boots up. Like there's this own little group devoted to Project Deadly Premonition. Woods and the Goddess, York and Zach, or Zach and York, I think is the name of the song technically. Life is Beautiful, the whistle theme, obviously fantastic. Amazing Grace is a good song. Comic Relief, FBI Special Agent, the driving theme. Lots of good songs on the soundtrack. You should check it out. Even the Kaysen's Final Boss theme, you can hear it over the bullets, but it's pretty good. Got some good choir, evil demonic choir in the background. I am wondering if I will get a post-credit sequence, because I know the director's cut has post-credit sequences, and I'm very curious if we're going to get one. So this is normally the part of the Let's Play where I put in a clip of me making a little tchotchke to commemorate the Let's Play and putting it on my tchotchke shelf. But the tchotchke shelf is back on my old place, and because of all the troubles, I won't be getting back there anytime soon. So I'm going to make a tchotchke with what I have available and just not put it anywhere for now. But yeah, it may not be a locket, but I've got a little upside down peace sign badge for good old Deadly Premonition. Because I'm not just going to make a cup of coffee and then leave it sitting there for months. That would be disgusting. The end is staying on screen for that exact amount of time so far that I don't know if I need to press a button or if it's going to fade out on its own. So I'm going to give it like 15 or 20 more seconds. Crap. Okay, I will edit back in a special clip because I forgot to effing look to see who voiced Emily, and I'm still upset that I don't know that because she does a fantastic job, and I just ranted about Emily for like 5 minutes. It was definitely more than that. I'll tell you how long I ranted. I'll time it and put it on screen right now, and then I'll also put on screen the voice actress for Emily, because she's effing great, and she's like, Jeff Kramer voices York, and he is fantastic. He's amazing, but the thing about York, this is not discrediting Jeff Kramer at all. But the thing about York is he's already so weird that when when Jeff Kramer receives a weird line of dialogue, he can just say it, and if it sounds weird, it's fine because it's York saying it. Emily is by far the most normal person in the town, despite having the same screenplay as everyone else, and she does a very good job. I think part of the game's charm is that it is very clearly a script that was not written in English, and so sometimes the localization and translation can just... everything just feels like a little bit removed, and I think that I enjoy that. I truly think... in fact, I think there was a point, when I was reading like those newspapers in the hotel, that like, it's honestly to me very interesting to see how translations are handled sometimes, and I don't think that is something to be mocked or made fun of. I'm not making fun of it, but it does lead to a bit of a disconnect. And somehow Emily's voice actor is able to like take weirdly written lines and just make them sound natural and normal, and she just feels like a normal person. And in a game like Deadly Premonition, that is truly an impressive voice acting feat. And so credit needs to be given to her, and I feel really bad I didn't pay attention to who it was. Yeah. I mean, we'll see if we go to we'll see what happens. I think it's long enough that I can press a button to see where we go next. Game completed on normal. You're dang right. Okay, we get a little bit more. All right. That better be a Sinner sandwich you've got there. I like how in this heaven world, they're in Nick and Olivia's diner, a real world place. Like, it's not a heavenly place. I get it's where Anna worked, but like, they're just in the diner that belongs to people who are still alive. Okay, interesting. That scene is in the director's cut, but there's more. I wonder if we'll get more once we press OK. Well, first off, how much did I get paid? Oh, I didn't get paid anything? I guess I didn't actually pick up any Asian honor or anything. Okay, that's it. All right, so director's cut. It's very interesting. I believe director's cut. So first off, it includes a wrap up to the kind of old man Zach talking to, I believe it is revealed to be his granddaughter, who he calls Emily. And then at the end, she goes down to talk to her mom, and she's like, I don't know why Grandpa keeps calling me Emily. And the mom's like, the mom very on the nose is like, well, of course you're not Emily. Your name is, and then I'm forgetting the name, but it's a different name. And then I feel like I could be making it up because I made up the last driving sequence as well. I feel like we get a last scene again in the diner of Zach entering and seeing York again. I could be wrong about that. And then I also know we get a scene in which Zach, I think it's Zach, is like, hey, or York tells Zach, hey, I think we've got a new case. Something's happening in New Orleans. I believe, I'm pretty sure. then the implication is Zack goes to investigate New Orleans, and then back in the old man Zack timeline, it's revealed Grandpa Zack has left the building and they can't find him. They don't know where he went. And also, I am 95% sure that Deadly Premonition 2 takes place in New Orleans, but you're playing as young York before anything that happened in Deadly Premonition 1, but it also flashbacks to later when you're talking to an old man as a different character, and the old man, I'm just going to go ahead and guess is old man Zack, but I don't know if he's gone back to New Orleans. I have no idea what Deadly Premonition 2 is going to do. I have no idea how they're going to handle the York-Zack dynamic. I would say you should all go watch the director's cut ending, just in case it, has more information. I'm going to go rewatch it as soon as I'm done recording, just in case it has some insight into how Deadly Premonition 2 is going to go. But, yeah, I have effing no idea what Deadly Premonition 2 is going to be like. I've seen that opening credits sequence they released as its own trailer, and then I've seen the teaser when it was first announced, and that's, pretty much all the information we have. And it's coming out in a month, purportedly. They also said Episode 1 Racer was going to come out on the Switch, and then it got indefinitely delayed the day before it was supposed to come out. So who knows when Deadly Premonition 2 is actually going to come out. But it's supposed to come out in July, and I'm recording this at the beginning of June, and I'll hopefully have it all uploaded by the time Deadly Premonition 2 comes out. But yeah, those are shockingly all of my thoughts for now. I'm sure I have other things I want to say, but I can't think of anything. What a strange game. But I suppose I should have known it was going to be strange, because after all, my coffee warned me about it. Have a safe trip home, everybody.